video is the way to go. Hello and welcome to the Sales Podcast. I'm Wes Schaefer, the Sales Whisperer, your host. This is your home on the web for straight talk, no BS, no hype, honest insight, tips, tricks, strategies, tactics, advice on how to sell more, faster, at higher margin with less stress and more fun. This week, I'm heading up to Santa Barbara, California. Somebody's got to do it. I'm speaking Friday on SEO at Entreport's Entrepalooza. And one of my fellow speakers is today's guest. Her name is Kristen Kraft. She is from the video hosting company called Wistia. And I've had a Wistia account for years and just really haven't used it. And now she kind of inspired me to get going on that. So we'll have some resources that I'll mention at the end, but something that just happened to me this morning, literally 5-10 minutes ago, through Twitter, is a friend of mine, who's also a follower of mine on Twitter, mentioned that he just signed up for a $20 plan on this company called Pure Chat, and he has already landed two $1,000 clients in the last 2 weeks. Now, the chat software didn't close the sale, but it made him immediately available to visitors so he could engage them and then take the conversation offline and make the sale. So head on over right now, pause this after I give you the link, but head on over to thesalespodcast.com/chat within 3 minutes. If you have a WordPress website, you can have the code and have this running on your site, and they have a free trial, okay? And they have a version as low as $9 a month if that fits your needs. Head over to thesalespodcast.com/chat. I'm telling you, this is hot off the presses, and I have literally closed thousands of dollars worth of business from this software. It works on your mobile phone. It works on your desktop, so you can be out and about. I get a text on my phone that, hey, there's somebody wanting to have a conversation. I open the app. I chat with them right there, answer their questions. Then, of course, you're going to ask for phone number, email, once you've answered their questions. So if there's more info that's needed, if there's the need to have a deeper conversation. So check it out, thesalespodcast.com/chat. And now on with Miss Kristen Kraft. Kristen Kraft, fellow Entrepalooza speaker, all the way from Massachusetts. Welcome to the Sales Podcast. How are you?
I'm great, Wes. Thanks so much for having me.
So, I have to say right up front, before I hit the record button, I mean, you kind of let me down. So you're starting in a deficit. So I'm going to warn you because your profile says beer brewer and drinker. And even though it's already 3 o'clock in the East Coast, you said you only have water next to you. Is that true?
It is true, but, I could fix that situation.
Okay. I mean, some of my listeners may appreciate that you're a professional and, you only drink after hours. But, hey, as a professional beer brewer and sales and marketing person, I expect the 3 martini lunch. So you're behind.
So I do have some, I think it's a brown ale that I brewed on hand in the fridge. I could grab that.
We may have to turn the video on. I may need verification that you've got it. Well, hey, thanks for taking the time to join me. I ran across your profile when we looked at, I was looking at the speakers coming up for Entrepalooza, and I love your profile. I like what Wistia's got going on, but so I wanted to have you on. But for those that don't know who you are, aren't familiar with Wistia, would you mind take a minute or two, give us a thumbnail sketch of who you are and what you do, and we'll dive down the rabbit hole?
Sure thing. So Wistia, just for those who don't know, is a video hosting platform. We help other businesses and other professionals share video online and then see analytics around how those videos are performing. And I've been with Wistia for about 2.5 years. I think what originally drew me to the company, my background is actually in education and in ed tech. And, Wistia is not ed tech, but one thing I loved so much was the way that Wistia was using video to teach people about video marketing. Wistia really prides itself on being its own best case study and showing people, hey, you can develop an audience and teach them and add real value to their lives and to their professions by showing rather than telling. And, that really is the name of the game in education these days. Make it a more engaging experience and students will actually care more. And I think the same holds true for business. If you go to a website that's just filled with copy, or even, peppered with a few photos here and there, that at this point is pretty boring and pretty dry and kind of hard to get through. If you're comparing that with a website that has tons of video that helps add color to what a company is doing, helps to show off their product, that is so much more compelling than just reading about, a pair of shoes you're thinking of buying. So anyways, I think that's what drew me to Wistia and why my background in education ended up feeling like a really good fit here. At Wistia, I do business development, so I work with a lot of our partners. I work, with a number of agencies, marketing agencies, digital agencies, and then I also end up having a lot of FaceTime with our clients as well. So I feel very fortunate to have exposure to so many cool people and get to see what they're doing on the ground and how they're using video to market themselves and do lead gen and just get more out of their business.
Right. So let's start with the big, obvious question. I mean, why pay to have video hosted on Wistia and have it private and locked down versus having it free on YouTube and getting the SEO juice and getting the extra eyeballs on it that could even drive traffic back to your site?
Yeah, well, I love this question because I actually feel like it's very easy to answer.
Bam!
Yeah.
That's me, the easy whisperer. Just wait. I'll ask them hard ones. So forget that. Let's go back.
No, I have a good one for this. Here's my very short answer, which is, frankly, you get what you pay for. At this point, when you go to a company that has a YouTube embed on their website, like, it looks shoddy. It doesn't engender trust. But I actually think the bigger reason is that YouTube videos don't do really any heavy lifting for you. You can't use a YouTube video to collect email addresses. You can't use a YouTube video to automate the way that you're marketing to people and nurture them in one way versus another way, depending on whether they have or haven't watched a particular video. So I think, like, putting a video on your website is nice, but it's really only half the battle. You have to then actually do something with that. You have to get that video to do some of the hard work and collect leads or, help automate and, determine how you automate your relationships with people.
Gotcha. So let's dig in there a little bit. So, because there's intelligence built in, right? So basically, if you have a 10-minute video and you don't get to the offer till the 8-minute mark and people are quitting at the 7-minute mark, I mean, those are the kind of analytics that you give. So then the marketer could adjust, maybe shorten the video, maybe pull the call to action earlier or things like that.
Exactly. And I tend to think about video analytics in two ways. There's the high-level view, and then the really granular view. So from a high level, you want to know, like, how your videos are performing in general. Are people dropping off at minute 6, or are they actually sticking around till the end? Because if you notice that your audience doesn't actually want to stick around for a 10-minute video and they don't want to wait till that offer at minute 7, that suggests, like, that's really important information that you need to know. You should be then making 2-minute videos and sharing out more, just more narrow pieces of content with them. So that's really like the high level view of how we think about video analytics. But then there's also this granular view that I think is useful in many regards, but it is particularly powerful for anybody who does sales or for any organization that has salespeople. Because if you are trying to call and educate somebody about your product, it's super valuable to know whether that prospect has actually viewed a product video. Like, you don't want to annoy someone in minute 1 by going over all the nitty gritty that they've already learned about. That's just going to get somebody pissed off and want to hang up the phone. Whereas if you already know, like, oh, they actually watched this video. In fact, they rewatched this one section on enterprise pricing. Therefore, they must care about enterprise pricing. And then you can tailor the conversation to fit their needs. You're all of a sudden, like, you kind of have ESP with that person. You're anticipating and answering the questions before they've even posed them to you.
Oh, so you're kind of spying on them. I see. You're like the NSA of video.
You're anticipating their needs. You're tailoring the message to fit what they need.
All right. Hey, I do kind of like that. And I have been known to sell something from time to time, so that could maybe come in beneficial, right?
Yeah, totally.
Now, what about the SEO argument? Because people will say, well, I can throw my stuff up on YouTube. I can tag it. I can run ads even. I can, piggyback on, ride the coattails of people in my niche and maybe get traffic and views that way. But, if you're using Wistia, obviously you're not doing that, right? You're hosting it through Wistia and embedding it on your own site. So how can people make up that SEO juice they may be getting from YouTube if they switch to Wistia?
We actually have something called an SEO embed that allows you to tag it and use the video, and get the exact same sort of SEO power and SEO juice out of it as they would were the video hosted on YouTube and then embedded there. So that's not really a moot point. But you made a couple other points that I think were really good. First of all, advertising. That is something that we see people do with great success in addition to having video hosted on their site with Wistia. And I think, basically, you just want to be wherever your audience members are. So if you know that people come to your website, you should have video on your website that's doing some heavy lifting there for you. If you know that you have audience members who also poke around on YouTube, you should also have a video on YouTube. And, heck, while we're at it too, you should also make some videos for social. If you know that you have audience members who spend any time on Twitter, make a little teaser video. Don't put a 5-minute video up there, but make a teaser video that's 15 seconds long, that's enticing, that's interesting. Embed it there using, Twitter's native video features, and then drive people back to your website. So I think the name of the game is just be everywhere your audience is, but then get people back to your website where you can really nurture them and tailor the experience to what they want.
All right. So if I understand what you're saying, so, let's say I have my main content. I've got a 20-minute overview of a sales training program, let's say. Would I maybe make a 30-second intro or 1 minute or 2 minute, maybe just cover the outline, throw that on YouTube and Twitter to get the eyeballs, but drive them back to my site where Wistia is hosting it so I get the analytics?
Yes, exactly. Okay. And, I think, we abide by this philosophy that every video should be adding value in some way. So even if it's just a 1-minute video that you're sharing on YouTube or a 15-second video that you're sharing on Twitter, give people one little data point and one little nugget of information that they can listen to and think, wow, this guy Wes knows what he's talking about. I really want to hear more from him. I better click through, go to his website. Oh, and then by the way, while I'm here, I'm going to poke around his other resources. I'm going to add my name onto his newsletter. I'm going to do all these other things. Like, get them engaged in a cycle where they're consuming your content on your site rather than getting them engaged in the YouTube cycle where they pop from you over to somebody else, and you lose them.
Hey, look, if I don't see Kate Upton eat a hamburger at least 3 times a day, my life is not fulfilled. Okay.
That is the one downside. Yeah.
I need that. I mean, golly. All right. And then, there's cat videos. I don't know. This whole Wistia thing, I don't know. It just seems so businesslike.
Yeah, the cat videos are, everyone needs a good cat video distraction from time to time.
Hey, what if I want to learn how to make a good amber Bach, and I need to be able to click through to that.
Yeah. Totally. That's definitely true. But you want to be the one teaching them. You don't want them to go over to your competitor down the street and think like, oh man, this one's even better. Oh, and while I'm at it, why don't I watch a cat video too?
All right. Good point. So how professional does a video need to be? I'm on your site now. I'm on Wistia.com. It's really cool. You got different people doing different things. You got a lady there laughing and smiling, and you zoom in. But we can tell this is professional, right? This is multi-cameras, multiple angles, professional lighting, professional backdrop. Very few people can get that done. And even those that can, it costs money, right? Is it okay to bust out, your HD camera on your iPhone and knock some things out, or just do like a ScreenFlow, Camtasia sort of thing on your computer? How good, professionally speaking, does a video have to be to still add value?
I think it depends completely on what your company is and what the context is for the video. So we have some customers Sam Adams, for example, or Tiffany and Company. And I would never advise them to shoot a video on their iPhone and then put it on the front of, the Tiffany and Company or Sam Adams, website. Like that would be a disaster. That's not the level of polish that their customers have come to expect. And certainly that they expect from a front page video. However, we also have a ton of little customers, whether it's, a mom and pop antique shop or a bed and breakfast. And these are folks who don't have, and frankly, that is actually the vast majority of our customers. And we see these small companies doing incredible things with video. And it really doesn't have to be, these videos don't have to be amazing. They just have to be genuine and they have to show, not tell. So if I'm looking at going to a bed and breakfast, I want to know, what do the rooms actually look like? And yes, photos are helpful, but they can be, you can use a wide angle lens and then suddenly they look way bigger than they are. There's a lot that photos can hide. Whereas a video, I think it makes people feel a lot more trusting. They really feel like they get a better sense of what they're buying. So, I think when it comes down to it, generally, the differentiator between my bed and breakfast and the competing bed and breakfast across the street, when it comes to video, is not like who has the better looking video. It's just who has a video. And I think if I'm going to be shopping around and comparing two of them, I think I'm going to be so grateful that they have taken the time to make a video and show off their property that I'm not going to be, all in a huff because it's not absolutely perfect. And also, I think it's just worth stating that at this point, all of us have amazing cameras on us pretty much at all times. I mean, the smartphone, the iPhone, Android phones have incredible cameras. So as long as you're, not shooting like in the pitch black under terrible lighting circumstances, you can get some really great footage using just your phone.
Yeah, but I look really good in the dark.
We could go for, some dark lighting as long as your face is well illuminated. It really does wonders for making you look energetic and youthful, and, having light on your face is a good thing.
All right. So that kind of leads into the next question. I mean, what is the most important? Is it lighting or is it sound? And how can the amateur, listening to this, create great audio, lighting and sound affordably?
That's a good question. So I think, let me just start for a second with two definitions. We often refer to video content and video footage as A-roll or B-roll. Okay. And A-roll generally refers to content where somebody is speaking to the camera or sort of like looking slightly off from the camera, but they are the primary focus of that footage. Right. They're delivering a message. And then the other definition I just want to share is B-roll. So that is any other footage that goes along with it. It often does not have sound. It usually does not have people talking. It might be just footage of people horsing around in your office, or, back to our bed and breakfast example, some footage of the grounds and, of the breakfast trays being brought out in the morning and of people sitting and enjoying afternoon tea on the porch. So B-roll is really more just to add color and to convey what the experience is like. Okay. And the reason, Wes, that I bring this up is because if you are capturing A-roll footage, your message is incredibly important. You do not want to cut corners with the sound, because if you have terrible audio, your message is not going to be clear. People are going to bounce from that video really fast. It's going to reflect poorly on you and your company. Okay. If, however, your video is more just to add color about the experience, just to show off what that experience feels like, and you are not trying to deliver a spoken message, if you are basically just trying to, entirely show, not tell, then sound really doesn't matter much. I mean, presumably you're actually adding like music in the background or something else. Like it doesn't really matter how that sound comes out, in which case I think lighting is most important. But, when it comes down to it, lighting is very cheap. We actually have a little recipe book on the Wistia site for building your own near professional lighting kit for less than $100 using things that you can buy at Home Depot or on Amazon.
Okay.
So it's actually very cheap and very easy to get great looking lighting. And I think, the same holds true for sound. Just stepping it up a little bit and using an external mic rather than the microphone built into your camera, it makes a world of difference. So I think it's the kind of thing that, both lighting and sound are pretty easy to optimize. So may as well spend a little bit of money just to get those two things right.
Right. So what about like screen capture, kind of, Camtasia, ScreenFlow? Is that adequate? Does that work in more situations than maybe people think?
I think it does, actually, especially for SaaS companies, or consultants, for example, who advise on technology. It is a very good option because so often what you're working with clients on is, how to implement this piece of technology. I mean, where do you click? Then what do you do? What are the first steps and the last steps? So I think in those cases, screencasts work really, really well. The one thing I would say is, I think that people and companies should take every opportunity they can to humanize their company, to show the faces of the people who work there. If you're a consultant, to show your face so that people have a better feel for who they are actually working with. And the reason I say this is because, humans are primed to respond to another human face. We all feel an emotional reaction. Like even teeny babies have an emotional reaction when they see another human's face. So, and I think the reason this matters is because the things that we react to emotionally are the things that we remember. So if you see the face of somebody you're about to do business with, they have a really friendly smile, you feel positively towards them, you're going to remember that person. And when, a year from now, you have some work that you want to do with them again, you're going to remember their name better because you saw their face. If somebody asks you later down the road how it was to work with them, you're going to have a warmer recollection of that experience because you saw their face. So I guess where I'm going with this is, yes, screencasts are awesome. If there's any, if you are able to take 5 seconds at the beginning of it to just do some recording on your webcam as well to say, hi, I'm Kristen from Wistia. I'm going to walk you through how to use the Wistia integration. And then you flip over to your screencast. That is going to be a much more powerful experience. So I guess I'd just say take the extra time to see how you can make any screencast even more human.
What about people that'll say, because I've done a lot of writing for people and done a lot of video myself, but people will always say, I just know it. I'm just going to go. I'm going to wing it. And every time, even good speakers, when the camera gets turned on, something happens. Is there a way, do y'all have any kind of guides or booklets or something to help people create an outline and some talking points, to help them? Because it just seems like if you're not a natural doing this all the time, it's hard. You're going to go through 5, 10, 25 takes, and then you're frustrated. You don't want to do video anymore.
I could not agree more, Wes. And even people who are professionals who do this all the time still stumble and stutter and just have less tight, cohesive messages when they try to wing it. So we absolutely do have resources around this. If you go to wistia.com/library, we have an assortment of tools to help people concept their video, script their video, shoot and then implement their video. And one of the things that we have is called Wistia's scripting tips. And there's even a questionnaire that people can fill out to help them do this. We have guidance on the way that we script videos and then the way that we shoot those videos. So we don't go into a video shoot ever. And I mean, never, ever do we ever go into a video shoot without fully scripting it. And ironically, even if the script is literally, hi, I'm Kristen. Hi, I'm Wes. Hi, just people introducing themselves, we script this out, as ludicrous as that might sound. Just because it makes it a more comfortable experience and it makes the video that much tighter. So, I think that scripting it is imperative. The just quick overview of how we then shoot it without having people have to memorize, tons of content. we break it up into like maybe 2-sentence chunks, and people will basically be in front of the camera. They'll read it a few times until they're comfortable with the line, sort of memorize it there. Because, it's fairly straightforward to memorize like 1 or 2 sentences at a time. So you read it a few times, you memorize that 1 or 2 sentences, and then you deliver the lines into the camera. And then you go back and you do that again and again with 1 or 2 sentence chunks so that it doesn't feel scripted.
So the do-it-yourselfer, though, I know they're going to push back on that. I mean, that's hard, right? I mean, it's work. We're not full-time video people. So how do they overcome that? I mean, how does somebody still make a good video affordably, reliably? I mean, should they just put it in the budget, bring in somebody, lump it all together, make 5 or 10 or 25 videos at a time that they can sprinkle throughout the site or use for promotions? Or, are we just doomed to throwing up an iPhone, in a tripod and doing the best we can?
Well, I think that video is really a skill set that companies need to develop in-house. Just as people have in-house writing expertise nowadays. I mean, practically every company, no matter how small, has somebody who writes a little bit of content for the blog. And maybe that person's a contract employee, or maybe they're a part-timer. But that is expertise that we all now recognize as necessary to have in-house. And I think the same will be true of video as well. So those companies that start developing that expertise in-house will have a leg up on those that don't. And, I'm not saying that every company needs to have like a full-timer who just makes videos all the time. But, have your content writer, task him or her with actually learning how to make and shoot a video. And, in reality, in talking about like shooting that video and sort of memorizing a line or two and then saying to the camera, yes, maybe that means that it takes a half an hour to shoot a 1-minute video or a 2-minute video, but the editing is going to be way easier because every line will feel smoother. Like none of the lines will feel super scripted. Whereas if you just try to wing it and you say like, hey, I can cut corners on writing a script, or I can cut corners on memorizing it then and then delivering the line to the camera, you're going to pay for that probably, 2 or 3-fold when it comes to editing, because it's going to be so hard to find the good takes, and you're going to spend so much time agonizing over all the bad ones. And probably at the end of the day, you're going to end up with a worse video. Mm-hmm. So I'd say I don't know, I'm like channeling my dad here, but it's like the preparation that you do ahead of time ends up saving you so much work down the road that, better to make sure that you're going into it well prepared.
Are you saying basically measure twice, cut once?
Yes, exactly.
Oh my gosh. I'm a father of 7. You can now tell.
Yes, so no wonder you had that adage on hand right there. That's exactly right.
So how important is music? I'm on your library site here, so wistia.com/library. You got a music collection, download some free background tracks that add energy and emotion to your videos. How important is that? Should it be just about every single time? Should it just be on the intro? Is it okay? Or when is it okay to have it maybe playing softly in the background? You got any tips on that?
I would say do it every time. I'm not sure if, I guess maybe there are some examples I can think of where you don't want that, but I just think that there are 2 reasons. I think, first of all, it just makes the video feel a little bit more professional and polished, because you do see so many videos that don't have music that it's a differentiator when you see one that does. Second of all, it's back to that emotion thing. We humans remember the things that spur an emotional reaction. So, if you are trying to convey, something upbeat, you're trying to convey excitement about your new product or your new service, and you have some upbeat music there, that's going to help your cause. So anything you can do to elicit that emotional reaction in your viewers is a good thing. And especially because, adding music to videos is so easy to do. It's really easy to edit in when you're editing a video. Given that Wistia and I don't know, I assume other companies like have some free music that you can use, without any sort of license. It's very easy to acquire. So, I think it's kind of a no-brainer. It will automatically make your video better.
Right. So do you have, I see you got a lot of good things here in the library, and you kind of mentioned several in the backdrop, down and dirty lighting kit, do-it-yourself office, video studio. What about, outdoors? Periscope is popping up in it's becoming very popular, but it's so funny how bad so many people really are. Do I want to watch you make a shake, in your kitchen? So where does that come in? This ad hoc sort of stuff, outdoors, the Vines of the world. Is there a place for that? Obviously people are consuming it, but is it making people any money? Or should people, is it noise, and our listeners should maybe just dial it back, focus more on the professional stuff?
I think, it comes back to the context and to what your audience wants. On the topic of outdoors specifically, we don't tend to do all that much outdoors just because, the weather in Boston in particular can be a little finicky at times. So that's a little risky. But when it comes to Vine or Periscope, I think it depends. If your audience is really interested in seeing what you're doing on a day-to-day basis, if you have a really engaged social audience, it might be appealing to them. I would say though that, again, you want those videos to do some heavy lifting for you. You don't want to just put them out there for the sake of putting them out there. Mm-hmm. Instead, put that video out and make sure you include a mention of the fact that you have a ton of other content that can help them learn more, do their jobs better, or whatever. Just have a good laugh and direct them back to your website.
Well, so you started off by saying, video is more engaging instead of, like a lot of copy, maybe even pictures, may not be enough to spruce it up. But from an SEO standpoint, can the search engines really read this video? So how important is having a transcript or even a very detailed blog just to help with search engines? Where does that kind of fall in the mix?
Yeah, we tend to try and pair video with written content wherever we can. And there are a couple of reasons for this. I think, there certainly is an argument to be made for the SEO benefits. I also think that because we are a B2B company ourselves, we need to recognize that sometimes people might not want to watch a video. Sometimes they might be in a crowded office and they don't have their earbuds right there. So, we don't want them to see just a video and they don't have their earbuds on hand and think okay, well, I guess this isn't for me. I better bounce. Instead, we want to give them the option to read if they prefer. And, some people might prefer to watch rather than read. So that's why I think it's great to have both video and written content. From a transcript perspective, I think that's pretty great to have. It does help with SEO. I also think that, and I'm aware of this only recently, and I feel a little sheepish that it's kind of taken me so long to realize this, but that is just really, really important for hearing impaired individuals. And I realized this issue because we had our annual conference this past May, Wistia Fest, and we had attendees who were hearing impaired. And, they pointed out the fact that, we hadn't been creating transcripts for all of our videos. And that was a problem for them, of course. And, I think it was a bigger problem than we had even recognized. So, I was glad that they pointed this out and brought this to our attention. We are now more diligent about it. But, I think it's a respect thing and an equality thing for those people. And also just a respectful thing for people who, again, just don't feel like watching a video right now or don't want to hear the sound. They might want to watch the video and read the subtitles, but they just prefer reading.
So who walks the dog at Wistia when it's snowing?
That would be primarily our videographer, Chris Levine.
All right.
Yes, Lenny is his dog, actually. And
does Chris wear shoes? Does he own shoes?
He does. does. He is often without them.
Okay.
But yes, he does.
All right, just checking. So, because I'm on one of I think the first video here, shooting your laptop. That's kind of scary. Sometimes I have wanted to shoot an older laptop, but not my new MacBook Pro. I kind of like this thing. But when do you decide? How do you decide on click to play versus autoplay? Because as I scroll through this, I notice the first one, the big play button, but some of the others, they're shorter, but they're autoplay and they're looping. How do you know how to mix that up?
So we try to never autoplay a video that has sound.
Okay.
I'm sure you have had this happen to you, and it's a very off-putting experience. You go to a webpage, maybe you even have like multiple tabs open,
and you
suddenly
can't find it.
Yes, it's the worst. Like nothing. I swear, like that kind of thing makes me like so irate that it sometimes makes me decide like I'm never going to buy from this company ever again. Like this is the worst possible experience. Just because if you are that clueless about user experience, like you must be clueless about a whole host of other things.
Right.
So I think like that, it's just a really bad experience. So we advise that people don't ever autoplay videos with sound. If on the other hand, you are creating a video that's very visually compelling, I think that having a silent looping autoplay, as you show something off or you show a workflow or even just show some friendly faces, that doesn't come with too many downsides. The only caveat I would give to this, Wes, is if you are embedding a video thumbnail image in an email, and that is the call to action within the email. Let's say I send you an email saying, "Hey, Wes, we're having a party at Wistia. Check out this video we made." And, there's a video thumbnail image of all of us in party hats and there's a big play button on it. And like, clearly that is the thing that I want you to do when I'm sending you this email. I want Wes to click play on this.
Sure.
If you click on it, then you are taken to the landing page where the video lives. In that case, I advise for selective autoplay, because you, in clicking that, are affirmatively basically telling me like, yes, I want to watch this video.
Right.
So it would be a poor user experience for you to then be sent to this landing page and then to have to click play again.
Right. Gotcha. Very good point. But, I've found that people really, it's really quite memorable when I have it like on level 10. I got a little monotone, kind of trumpet sounds, like the king has arrived, sort of, that really helps, I found.
It makes a real impression. I mean, that is for sure.
Remember the old Saturday Night Live, Dana Carvey? Isn't that special?
Yes. Yes.
All right. So this has been fantastic. Miss Kristen Kraft with a K. Although Kristen is with a K and Kraft is with a C, right? That's kind of like the craft beer. Is that where you got that from?
Yes, sadly not related to the Kraft family of the Patriots.
All right. So any parting words of wisdom for our visitors? I will be linking to you on Twitter, The Crafty, as well as wistia.com/library. So any parting shots, words of wisdom, or other resources you want to make sure and mention?
Yes. The one thing, I would like to make a plug for one thing.
One thing?
Yes. And I would like to make a plug for people to go out and actually try making a video. Because I think that it's like anything. The first time you do anything new, it's going to be scary. And you're going to feel embarrassed because it could be better. And you're going to feel sheepish that it's not, as good as it could have been.
Right.
But you know what? The second time you do that, it's going to be so much better, and it's going to be so much easier and so much less daunting. And the third time, it's going to be even better than that.
Shazam.
And I think, yes, and for so many people, it's really just that first time. You just have to get over the hurdle and the anxiety of doing it that first time. I think try it, do it, use a video in one blog post and compare it to the traffic or the time on page that you're getting from your site visitors versus the time on page you get from blog posts that don't have video in it, and just see for yourself. And I think you'll realize that not only is video much easier to do than you thought, but it also has a bigger impact than you might have suspected on what you can get out of, your site visitors in terms of their time or their engagement with your content or their likelihood to sign up for a newsletter.
Yeah, I mean, the nice thing, too, is, I mean, Wistia offers to host, 25 for free?
Yep.
So, all right. So there's no excuse.
No excuse.
Sign up, get started. Come on, make it happen. So
Shoot a video.
If they send you their video and they say this was their first one, you promise, A, not to laugh at them, and B, send a pony keg of your next craft beer that you make?
Maybe that, and or, some good feedback on how that video is, looking.
All right.
Pony keg for the best one.
For the best one. All right.
Yeah.
That's nice. Hey, I may have to submit some videos.
Yes, you do.
Very cool. All right. Kristen Craft, Wistia fame. I'll see you in 2.5 weeks at Entrepalooza. And thanks for coming on the Sales Podcast.
Thanks so much for having me, Wes.
Like it or not, video is here to stay. I'm looking forward to hanging out with Kristen at Entrepalooza coming up, and I'm actually flying out to Boston in a couple of weeks. I'm going to be at the HubSpot offices for about 3 days, getting to know them. I'm moving my entire website over to HubSpot for faster hosting, better analytics, better integration overall of my own sales and marketing automation. And I'm going to go visit Wistia, which is nice because they're right there in the same area in downtown Boston. But here's some stats that I just pulled up as I'm recording this, and it was from Cisco, the big internet provider, hardware, blah, blah, blah. But this is from May 27th, 2015, so just a few months ago. And the amount of traffic going over the internet is unbelievable. They're saying annual global IP traffic will surpass the zettabyte, 1,000 exabytes, and so I don't know. That's thousands of gigabytes in 2016. So it's coming up, right? And then 2 zettabytes by 2019. But when it comes to video, it says globally, consumer internet video traffic will be 80% of all consumer internet traffic in 2019, up from just 64% last year in 2014. Okay, internet video to TV doubled in 2014. So video is here to stay. It's no accident that Google bought YouTube years ago. They knew this was the direction things were heading. You need to be doing video, okay? And the thing that's really hitting home for me with YouTube versus Wistia, okay, and I asked this question. So YouTube obviously is a great traffic source. You need to leverage the SEO. You need to leverage the fact that there's a lot of people there, looking up things. It is the number 2 search engine in the world behind Google. But when you use Wistia, so I pulled over one video so far. And I can see the statistics, the average engagement, total plays, the play rate. But this shows me where are people coming from. I mean, literally where in the world, by IP address. They have an engagement graph that shows me how people are clicking through. Are they scrolling ahead? Or where are they dropping off? These types of analytics help you make informed decision. And that's the beauty of marketing today in the digital era. There's no more guessing. There's no more wondering and hoping, thinking something is working. You can look at it. So if I don't have the numbers that I want and need from this video, I can see it, obviously, and I can make a change. That's what you have to be doing now. Take out the guesswork. Get tools like Infusionsoft, like HubSpot, like Entreport, so you know where your traffic is coming from. You know your open rates. You know your click-through rates. You track the purchases. You track the upsells. You track the engagement. Okay? You can't run around with your head between your legs just hoping things are working. On my talk that I'm giving this Friday on SEO, I talk about the 3 forms of SEO. And the first one that most people do is the post and the pray. Okay? Hope is not a strategy. That does not scale. So the other is post and pay. And that may be a way to get started, and it may be a way to continue. But post and promote is the way to go. It's the way to grow. But you don't know what to promote. You don't know how well it's working, okay, without these types of analytics. So Check out Wistia, Wistia.com. Tell them Wes sent you. And sign up for their free trial. They have very affordable packages, but they have a free version. So try it. Start looking at the numbers and then commit to growing your business. And another tool you can use for free to grow your business is over at thebestsalessecrets.com. It's a 21-page report. It's free. It covers 21 years of my sales experience boiled down into the things you need to do, that you must do, that you can do to grow your business right now. Because at the end of the day, sales is why we're in business. Sales is the straw that stirs the drink, as my old boss used to say. Okay, nothing happens until a sale is made. So go check that out, thebestsalessecrets.com, and then share the love online. Hit me up on Twitter, write a review on iTunes. I really appreciate it. Lets me know that you're out there. Lets me know that you like what I'm doing, and it helps others find this great free content. And as always, remember to sell different.